Hi everyone and welcome back to another review here on Rise Adventures YouTube channel. Before we get started, if you haven't already, make sure you check out my other review here on the channel as well from Blackpool Dungeons. So before we get into it, I like to let you all know that I will be going into full detail. So if you don't want to know anything about what happens in the London dungeons, make sure you not watch past this point. So before we get inside the dungeons, it is located outside the Big Wheel, just next to Shrek's Adventure and Sea Life as well. So it's just along, so pretty much they're literally right next to each other, so you can't miss it. So let's get into it. So when you enter the dungeons, you will be greeted by the king, by the king's jester. So basically where the lift jester is before you make your descent into the darkest depths of the dungeons. So you learn about the cheerful rascal who appeared for 1,000 years of historical horrible history. Here you'll hear the grinding cogs and chains as the witch is staying on your way down. You'll arrive safely at the river docks of the Thames. So basically there's a river ride inside there. So once you've done that, you make your way into the riverboat. Basically is the Traitor's Gate basically. Where you meet your fate. So for this boat ride, you'll experience the full force of Henry VIII's wrath inside in an altogether darker and scarier. So basically, where Jester has condemned you to death for conspiring with Anne Boleyn. My pronunciation is so awful, I can't pronounce that. So you will join her on her final journey along the Thames of the Tower of London, where you meet your fate. You may lose your head. So if you've heard of done your history, you know, about the 6 wives Henry VIII had. So you may lose your head. So along the way, the murderous monarch himself will sentence you to death before intense darkness. Choppy waters, scurries of rats and skulls, stench of sewage will give you a 360 feel for the journey that so many other traitors, which is you. When you are on this boat ride, you are a traitor. Where you made during King Henry's reign. What you will discover in this boat scene, you will is how furious Henry VIII can be, and what happened to Anne Boleyn and her fellow conspirators. How the extortioners play the drums as you approach the Traitor's Gate, and you also learn how wet the River Thames is as well. So on that boat ride, you make your way around to all these different scenes. It's nothing obviously you can see it's not dark or anything. So you make your way round all these different scenes. Obviously learn about Anne Boleyn, and once you made your way around, you make your way onto a lift hill, where you onto a turntable where you come down a drop backwards. It's not a steep drop, it's only a little drop. So you could obviously you'll make your way all the way backwards to another room, which is the tower where the Tower Warden is. So You'll meet the Tower Warden and find out what kind of traitor you are. You'll discover what kind of traitor you really are, who in your group has the perfect head for chopping, and who's getting boiled. And also you'll get the signal for Amberlynn to get her head chopped off as well. When you're in this room, you'll have having attended to a fair few of Henry VIII's 70,000 victims. We know he's true expert in his field and will take great delight in reading out your fate. So either this actor can be a man or woman. When I did it a few days ago, we had a woman in that room. It is kind of a laugh. Can have a laugh with her as well, or whoever who it is. And so make your way out of that room, where you meet a conspirator's walk, which is basically the gunpowder is nearly afoot and there are traitors everywhere. So in this room you'll discover whether you can be trusted, and the contents of Lord Montague's letter as well, and also King James's dreadful deeds. So basically, as a servant to one of the central conspirators in the gunpowder plot, who wants to rock the foundations of this country, ridding ourselves once and for all of King James and his government. So obviously talk about this bit of room. Can't actually remember what happens in this room, to be honest. So obviously you make your way in, and then you go into another room, which is the Guy Fawkes's gunpowder plot. So basically, once you're in this room, so basically so beyond the city gates, you enter a dark rat-infested tunnel that winds back beneath the city of London. So obviously, some of these corridors may have smell pods, just like every other dungeon has. If you've been into one, it's a really good smells as well, to be honest. So obviously in this room you'll it's basically like set a firework off on remember the 5th of November, which everyone knows. The world's most famous plotter, well, or at least of him anyway. You'll also discover what happens to Guy Fawkes during his 10 days of torture, and why Edward Bates isn't the brightest match in the box. Also, you'll see hear, feel and smell what could have happened if Guy Fawkes was really successful. So you can basically learn about the history of this as well while you're in this room. So once you come out of that room, you will go into the Tower of London's torture chambers. Mind you, you don't even feel like you're in London anymore, because when I did it a few days ago, I didn't feel like I was in London. I thought I was in a different world. Well, not a different world, but obviously, really down down in it. It's really good. It's good hidden because you actually got people walking on top of you outside, obviously. So basically, in this room, you'll discover how much pain and punishment looked like in the 1600s. So basically, what the chopper is used for. So obviously, if you're a bloke, you'll know. Then obviously you'll get the actual pull you out to sit in this chair and obviously demonstrate to other victims how these tools can be used. So that's a great way to learn it as well, for a bit of history. So as you come out of the torch chamber, you'll go into the Escape the Great Fire of London. And I think in one of these scenes, you'll stand up straight and the floor will move backwards. So basically, you don't want to put your feet, you don't want to cross your legs first, otherwise you will fall onto the floor. So I can't remember what room that is. So comment down below, if you know which room that is, which you know I'm talking about. Is basically the floor just moves backwards. I can't remember what room it is, so let me know in the comments below. So yeah, the Escape of Great Fire of London is basically why you were always taught not to play with fire. Well, everyone knows not to play with fire, obviously. But obviously, and you'll step into a bakery of one of Thomas Ferriner's on Pudding Lane. So you make your way out of that room into another room as well, which is the Plague Doctor. So I was this is a good room to be in, a Plague Doctor, because it's not that scary actually. So basically, the Plague Doctor is basically looking out for those infected bits inside your body, basically. The basically symptoms of the plague, and where the Plague Doctor's leeches. So basically, again, in Blackpool dungeons, you'll sit on these benches, a normal bench. You obviously, when you go in, you'll know it's basically got leeches. It's a weird sensation, really, a weird feel to it, because the Plague Doctor pretends she's lost her leeches and they've basically escaped. I wonder how this actually works, how you can actually feel it. So this is a really good room. I like. I remember going my first time in this one in Blackpool. Obviously, proper terrified, proper on edge. So yeah, once you've done one dungeon, you want to do the rest of them. They're pretty much all the same, but obviously different layouts and everything. So once you made your way out of the Plague Doctor, you'll make your way into Curse of the Witch. This one is actually quite scary. I admit, it was basically in our group. It was me, Gary, Rain, Doug, and Chris. Me and Gary were literally always still at that proper holding each other, because we were both on edge on this. So basically about this room, it's 1621, and witch trials actually have really heated up. So basically you enter the bowels of Newgate Prison and witness Elizabeth Sawyer, the Witch of Edmonton, where she awaits her execution. She is already confessed and been convicted of conversing with the devil. Sounds quite terrifying, actually. And then she turning on to her neighbours after the sudden illness and death of someone seen arguing with someone. What we'll basically discover in this room is how loud thunder can really get. So like thunder that we hear is not that is loud, but not that loud. As obviously you hear about this if you do visit, and why King James I is the worst king of all time, and also the meaning of fear. So yeah, this is again another scary room where me and Gary was proper on edge with each other. So we come out of that into another room now. So basically, this is part of a horror film. So if you've ever seen Sweeney Todd, the movie about Sweeney Todd with actor Johnny Depp in it. So basically, this is the scene out of the film. Is basically Marguerite Lovett, where she got obviously her famous pie shops. You got all the horrible pies. Basically, going into the film, I'll just explain it more. So basically, in the film, Sweeney Todd is basically a barber. Obviously kills people. Then below him is the pie shop where Mrs. Lovett is. But there's a trap door where basically all the bodies come out of. So obviously, if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. And then you'll get obviously goes into Mrs. Lovett's baked goods, really. Then after that, you make your way into the Sweeney Todd area, where he's basically lashing his prices. What it's like to have a nice close shave. Sort of again, that trap door going into Mrs. Lovett's pie shop below, into like a bunker type thing. You also accommodating Mrs. Lovett's assistant seem on edge, and obviously you see how Sweeney Todd gets to work as basically. So that's the part of the Sweeney Todd version. Then you make your way into Mitre Square. Basically a good time to be working in the East End. So bit of a backstory. So basically, in 1888, in the foggy gas-lit streets of London's Whitechapel, you can smell the fear in the air as the murderer is on the loose. So basically, her name's Mary Jane Kelly. Updates on recent Whitechapel murders. Seeing the most recent victim. She's seen. You'll see when you're in it. You'll see your most victim for yourself, basically. You'll discover how many victims were there. The grisly details of each murder that has been committed. And also you receive a post as a gift from Jack, which we'll get into in a minute. So basically she has a business to attend, but obviously there's a cloaked figure, aka Jack the Ripper, which we'll get into now, which is the next room of the London dungeons. So after that, well, before that room, you go into this white chapel, which is basically a mirror maze. So if you notice, if you watch back me previous vlog, that if you've watched most of my vlogs, I've not mentioned about how much I love a mirror maze. So it's basically trying to get out. Sometimes the door's shut, sometimes it's not. Stay calm and where the streets panic. So basically it's a labyrinth, basically a Whitechapel labyrinth. So a tip for this room, for the labyrinth, is if you look at the mirrors, look on the floor, you'll see some the black sealant. So if you really want to make your way out quick enough, just follow the black sealant on the floor. So basically that just holds into the floor, so you can just look at that and make your way around. Obviously there could be a massive group of you, so one group can go one way, one group can go the other. It depends who you follow, really. So once you've done that, you make your way into where Jack the Ripper is. So basically the 10 Bells pub. So this is quite a scary room. Like I say scary, it's a very scary room. There's a few tables and chairs where you can sit down. But if you don't want to sit there, you can stand at the back of the wall. Nothing happens on that wall. A few stuff will move. But it's quite good if there's a big group of you, because if you all be congregated together. But if you're scared of tight spaces, I suggest don't do the dungeons at all. Obviously just don't go out drinking at this pub, because it's not a very nice pub to drink at. Then you make your way into one of my favourite rooms. If you watch me previous review, it is the courtroom. I absolutely love this room. It's a room I could literally stay in all day. So basically with this one is you're learning about what's the 1783 equivalent to an ASBO. Obviously you also you'll probably find yourself guilty of or very guilty, but only time will tell if you do go into it. What I do like about this room is on the right hand side of the doors you've got guilty and very guilty. So to make your way into the room, you make your way into the very guilty room, through guilty door, sorry. And then you obviously who did the dirty dance on the Westminster Bridge as well. Obviously find out who stole a sheep, or worst of all, whose accomplice a big duck turpine. So only the judge can decide on your fate on that, if you're guilty or very guilty of those I can't remember the word. I'll come back to you in a minute on that one. On the verdict. There you go, verdict. So you make your way out of that room and then into where the basically indoor ride is. I'm surprised I actually did this because of my last visit to the dungeons I didn't do this ride. So basically, if you've ever been on 13 at Alton Towers, it is a drop ride, but it's not a, you think, oh, that's going to be a forceful ride. It's not. It's actually quite a gentle ride. So basically, it's a big room. I'll say if you don't feel well, don't do this room at all, because we had a group before us, and then something happened in that room. It took about 10 minutes to sort, about 5-10 minutes to sort out. So obviously, this is where you get your hanging, basically. Yeah, executioner. So you'll have to fear the long drop. Let's say it's a long drop. It's not. It's like a 10-foot drop. Same as 13, basically. So if you're ever on 13, it does that, and then again, it's just basically that, but all in one. And then what cracking next sounds like. So basically, that actually felt good on my neck, actually. So that's the one way of describing that one. I don't know how well the camera picked up on that. Oh, bloody hell. Wow. And then you'll get George Priest and obviously the crowd's cheer. So, oh, you've been hanged. See you later. So that, and then you come out of there, you raise back up, turn back to where you was, and then you exit that room, and then you enter a tavern, which is basically a pub, where you basically ended your experience, where you can buy all your merch and stuff. So if I have missed anything out in this video, please let me know in the comments below, because I do like reading comments, and let me know how I could improve on reviews. Obviously this is my second review I have done, so if you haven't already, make sure you check out my other 2 previous vlogs here on the channel. Make sure you check out yesterday's vlog from Thorpe Park Fright Nights. That's now up here on the channel, so make sure you check that out, and make sure you check out my Thorpe Park vlog as well. And then yeah, so if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and there's only one last thing to say: get out there and keep on laughing. See you on the next video.